Welcome in. Welcome to another episode of Top Crop TV live watch party. My name is Seth Wood. I'm the producer and director, and I'm here with Perry Galloway. How you doing, Perry?
Dude, if you want to know the truth, I'm really tired. But outside of that, I'm doing pretty good.
I
I've been,
know. We're
I,
so honored to have you on tonight.
I've
You've been a
been,
busy man.
yeah. So, do we have an audience yet?
Yeah, we're working on it. We got eight
Or,
and climbing.
oh,
Eight and
okay, ain't
climbing.
climbing. Okay, so yeah, I was in South Africa for 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks and a day. I kind of lost count. Long time. But
Well, if
anyway,
you
I
go to
got back Tuesday morning, and my sleep pattern's messed up. So I've been up since 1 a.m.
yeah, you got to be a little jet lagged over there. I'm
So
guessing.
I'm normally I don't have much problem with this time I do. So
Yeah, well, I would assume if you're going to South Africa, you want to stay for a minute.
well, I said 3 weeks was long enough.
Yeah. Did you have a good time? What'd you do while you were over there?
Pretty much everything. I went with Maxie. Everybody I think knows Maxie, but
Mhm.
I met her. She's been over there uh, for a couple of months. So I guess I spent the last month with her. She came back. So what did we do? We went to the Kruger National Park. That's where all the wild animals are.
Oh,
And
fun.
then we spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 days there. So we saw about all the animals that you can see in South Africa: the elephants, the giraffes, the lions, the monkeys, the baboons, everything. And then, of course, her daughter got married around the 21st of February. So we were around Pretoria, which is a major city there. Then we went down to her brother's farm, and that was kind of fun. Spent 4 or 5 days there. More of a cattle farm, just wide open pasture land as far as you can see. But while I was there, I went and visited some farmer friends of mine, and looked at their corn and their soybeans, and what else did they have? Paprika, paprika. So saw a
Oh, that's
variety of crop.
interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Saw a variety of crops there. Enjoyed that. They're late in their growing season, so they're pod field on their soybeans. The corn is actually, of course, pollinated field and be drying down here pretty soon. They've suffered a lot of drought and hail, a lot of weather related issues. What else to do? Oh, and I guess the last few days went down to Cape Town, which is just more of a tourism. Went to the wine farms, rented a helicopter, flew down to the Cape Point, which is basically where the two oceans, the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, come together. So that was kind of maybe on my bucket list. I didn't go
Oh,
down
yeah,
there.
that's on my
I
bucket
didn't think
list
it
for
was on my
sure.
bucket list, but I've always known about it and had the opportunity to do it, so just did it. Went off to a place called Robben Island, which is, I don't know, 8 or 10 miles off the coast of South Africa, and that's the equivalent. It's a prison out there, equivalent to our Alcatraz, and that's where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned 18 out of 23 years. So toured that facility. It's no longer active. It's just a tourist site. So anyway, yeah, I did everything from, like I say, wedding, the animals, the safari, the farm with all the cattle, and actually went to a cattle auction in South Africa, and then finished up and is strictly a tourist. So had a big time.
Did you
Ate some good food. A lot of fresh fish.
did you bring home any cattle with you? Any new Galloways?
No, they didn't have any belted Galloways over there. I didn't see any. They're more into I would say the red Angus and regular black Angus. Some mixed stuff as well. But
Let's go.
I
Nice.
was trying to keep up with the prices, converting the kilograms or kgs to pounds, and then the currency there is a rand, and it's about 18 to one. So I couldn't really keep up very well at the auction. So it's a good thing I wasn't bidding.
Yeah, it's a good thing. You
So
got enough Galloways
what do
anyway.
we got on the show tonight? So, or would you say we're going to talk
Got you
about
in
the
the rice
rice?
fields tonight. We got you fixing some fields. Remember when we got
On the
stuck out in
backhoe?
the
Yeah,
field?
okay. So you got some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of rice tonight. What
Well,
can you
that's
tell us
good.
about your rice crop this year? Obviously, they probably don't have that in South Africa. If they have,
You know, yeah, they've got a variety of crops. I didn't see any rice. Yeah, I know they do on the because one of the guys that had worked for me over here, he he was managing a uh, I don't an investment group came in there and they were leveling land and they wanted to raise some rice and they put in that was over at Mozambique, I think, the next country to the east. And I think they put in one full year and got started on the second year. And then something happened with the government and the currency, and they just kind of left. So that operation, I don't guess, made it or it's on hold. But yeah, that field that we that the show's about tonight, that was probably one of our better fields. I know it was. Really nice field of rice.
I know it looked good when we were there. It
Yeah,
looked real good.
yeah. So that was one of the better fields. I guess we got that in early. I don't know. Yeah, rice crop was pretty decent this year. Uh, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't for the best. It wasn't as good as the corn and the cotton, but it was pretty good.
Right. You mentioned something in this episode tonight that I don't know if a lot of people know, but you gave us a statistic about how much rice that in the from for the world supply, how much rice that Arkansas supplies, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
So
Can you
I'm.
tell us that again?
Yeah, I'll speak in round numbers. Uh, uh, the United States raises about 3% of the rice in the world. Actually, it's less than that, but it's maybe it's 2.5%. And of that, Arkansas raises 1%. I think about 1% of the world's rice. So yeah, if you can do the math, that's it's a big number. A lot of rice comes out of the state of Arkansas. I forget how many acres it is. It's maybe around 1 million acres. That may be a little long, but uh, it's a big deal, especially here in East Central Arkansas. I lose you. Hello. Can you hear me? Testing 1 2 3.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was
Oh
saying
yeah.
I was muted. Sorry. I
Okay.
was saying yeah,
No.
and rice is an important crop across the world. So what you're
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
is
you get
important work
into now.
over there.
We raise predominantly what they call long grain rice, which that's different than the rice at the Asian markets. They're more in the medium grain and short grain, but uh, we do raise a little medium grain rice around here. Uh, but the stuff that we buy at the grocery store is long grain rice. That's the main one that the housewife will buy and cook for the family.
So is there something you can tell us about the rice that we maybe didn't cover in the episode, or something that most people maybe don't know about the rice or
Well,
growing the
let's
rice, the
see.
process?
That was a hybrid rice. All rice isn't hybrid. There's one company that kind of specializes in hybrid rice. That was a hybrid rice. I would say the average yield is around of the hybrid rice, probably 195 to 200 bushels. That's average. Where conventional hybrid rice might be probably 20 bushels, 25 bushels less than that. How do we do it? We plant it with a drill. Well, this particular field was drilled. Uh, we controlled the weeds and fertilizer and put water on it for about well, it's not quite that easy. The rice needs to be about I would say ankle high, a little taller, and then you put fertilizer on it and what we call take it to flood or put the water on. The water's just as much for weed control as it is anything, because weeds and grasses won't come up through water. At least that's what they say. Grass is particularly hard to control in rice because rice is a grass. So, there's just a few select herbicides that control grass and rice. So that's always an issue. I think it's very responsive, like all crops, to fungicides and foliars, especially potash at grain fill. Uh, it can't, once it's mature, we typically get the water off of it. It can be just like a wheat harvest, just dry field. But if we ever get some rain, then it gets muddy and it can get pretty nasty harvest. But we hope it doesn't go that way. We hope we can keep the field dry and harvest it just like a field of wheat.
Is there a particular nutrient that you find it gets deficient in quicker than others and you have to help it out, or does it do pretty well?
Well, I don't think, it's just about like any other crop. I mean, we need some phosphorus out there, you know, at all times. It helps with the tillering, which, in turns helps with the heading part of it, the grain, and then potash to help with the fill. It's just like any other crop. Um let's see what else we need. Nitrogen, it uses uh, about a pound of nitrogen per bushel. Yeah, maybe not quite that much. 3/4 of a pound per bushel. So yeah, it's not difficult.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think we talked about that.
Insects. There's a few insects that bother it, but we've got insecticides that they control it. Usually, tank mix it with a fungicide or a foliar nutrient.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Everybody thinks rice, water, snakes. Uh, I'm not particularly too worried about any snakes, but it's not. There's not a snake lurking behind every stalk of rice.
I didn't see any when I was
Now I
down
will
there.
say this: as far as the harvest, the rice is very abrasive, so it's kind of hard on these combines. Most of these combines, or any combine I get, we always get what we call a rice package, which is a reinforced uh, hard surface or whatever. The wear points are reinforced because it can be pretty tough on combines.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Well, I know for a fact that even though we got stuck in the fields down there, they were really good looking fields, and I was glad we
Hold
didn't have
on
to
now, Seth.
destroy them.
We didn't get stuck. Unless you have
Well, me,
unless you had a mouse in your pocket.
I did. I had a couple of them.
So
No, but
yeah,
you helped me get
I think the
out. Is
story
all I
goes
was
you
getting
got
at.
stuck and I had to get you out. Maybe
I
that's
was so grateful that you helped
yeah.
us get out of there.
That was pretty
So
entertaining. I wish we had that on video. That'd be worth more
at
than this.
least one of us knew how to drive. That was
Yeah, that'd
nice.
be worth. Yeah, that was very entertaining. So
It was an adventure for sure.
yeah,
You'll ha- you'll have to message us independently for the full story since we've
yeah.
told it before. But
So where is everybody tonight? It's just the two of us.
yeah, it's just the two of us. We got Dan is in South America. Everybody's traveling. Everybody's moving around.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to
Corey, I think
Dan a few weeks ago before I left. I guess.
did you? Yeah. This is
Uh,
his second trip to South American month, so
yeah. I knew he went
moving.
went right back or something. Can't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
things are
Let's see,
happening.
Corey. Who ended up going to Commodity Classic? I wanted to go. I couldn't get back in time.
That was me and the fights. Shelby and
Okay.
Ethan Fight were there.
Yeah, I saw some of that on Facebook. So
Yeah, Russell's down at another trade show in Florida with the emergency response trailer that they put together. That's pretty epic, actually.
Yeah, I think I saw a video of that, something he posted on some
Everybody's
social
gonna want
media.
one. Yeah, I want one for production. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So
Put the
no,
drone right on top.
all is well. Anybody out there's got any questions about rice or
Yeah,
corn or
well,
soybeans or cotton or anything?
we haven't seen any questions yet. I know we cover some other stuff in this episode too. The one I'm editing now has got a lot of cotton content in it. That'll be
Good.
episode 12 with where we looked at the cotton bowls and the different
Yeah, we talked
flowers.
about all that. So now, when will that is that episode? That's not this episode though, is it?
No, that's not this one. That's we got another 5 episodes before we
Okay.
get to that one. Yeah. Number
Yeah,
12.
I'm excited about that one. And this rice stuff's good too. I know
Yeah.
I'm probably the only one that raises rice. So
Yeah, it's
uh,
cool. It's diverse, it's unique, it's
yeah,
fun.
it's very it's easy to raise.
Mhm.
I mean, it's very forgiving. Multiple ways to plant it. I said, we drilled this, but you can actually throw it out there out of an airplane and or a drone, I guess, and it'll sprout and attach to the ground, and you're off and running. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you really don't have to cover it up. You can just scatter it out there, and like I say, it's very forgiving.
Yeah.
Uh, Now the hybrid seed, like we're planting, is pretty expensive, so you don't want to waste a bunch of it or have it not to work. Uh, Most of the hybrid stuff's planted with a drill because we're just planting like 22 or 23 pounds of seed, so a little bit goes a long way, and it's not cheap. Nothing is.
Well, you make it look easy over there in
Well,
Arkansas.
I don't know about that. So speaking of cheap, I've been working on some budgets today, and I don't know if this is time to talk about it, but this farm economy is bad. I mean, and I know everyone knows that, but I guess since I snuck off for 3 weeks, the reality uh, has hit me. So
Yeah, it hasn't
we're
uh
really gonna have to be conscientious this year as far as
it
watching
hasn't been good
expenses.
for a while, and it seems like we're at the
Yeah,
very worst of it for sure.
yeah, we've gone from you know 23. I don't guess and didn't end up very well. 24, that one we just finished. Like I said, I had great yields. I mean, I really did. I had some of the best yields across every crop, the whole farm, that maybe forever. And then doesn't look like we're going to do that well with it. And then going into this year is terrible. All the inputs and I don't know what these tariffs are going to do. I can't even discuss it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Dave Megger says it's tight for sure, and then he asks, how do you rotate? What's your process or thought process behind the rotations
Pertaining to what?
to the different crops before and after rotating the crops on the ground there?
What ground? You talking about the rice?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought. A lot of this rice is continuous rice. Most of my rice ground is continuous, and occasionally we'll rotate in some soybeans. Um, it's heavier, more
yeah. I
clay,
wasn't
holds
sure.
water better, so it's 80% of the time it's gonna be in rice, but we will put some soybeans in from time to time just to give it a break the cycle,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
control a few weeds.
Yeah,
It's so. Uh, Which leads back to what I was saying, the harvest. You want a good dry harvest. That way, it's just like you harvest a good dry field of wheat or even soybeans. You don't have any ruts to deal with. But if you have to cut the rice in the mud, then of course you have ruts to deal with, and it's just hard getting started the next year.
that doesn't hurt. I guess rice is a low disease crop. There's not too much disease when you go over
No,
and over
it's
again.
got it certainly's got diseases. So we use fungicide. Um, Same ones we use on any other crops. Uh,
Okay.
you
Well,
know,
I
with
know
the
I learned a
with
lot about it when I was out there, and I know this episode's jam packed with some pretty good stuff.
I hope so. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Hey Perry, I got a question for you. I know
All right,
I've been hiding in the back, but I got a question.
all
Is
right. Put
the
it.
rice market as hard and controlled as like the peanut market where it is a tough market even though you've got your limits?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just not a lot of rice traders. The market's kind of limited. Yeah, it's traded every day, but it's limited on the number of people actually trading rice. So that can inhibit a lot of movement.
That makes it a very hard market to
Yeah,
play.
I'm assuming like that's like peanuts. I don't know how many peanuts. Uh,
Peanuts are a tough market to deal with.
yeah, I mean rice isn't that difficult to deal with. It just I always felt like it's a limited number of traders, unlike corn or soybeans or wheat.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people. One of the things, and I just actually got a text about it. Explain to people a little bit. They wonder why the rice fields are always burned off. Can you explain to one of the people that just texted? They don't know rice at all, but they
Why
think,
they're burned off, like physically burned off, like
yeah,
black. Just that's an argument in Arkansas right now. Uh, Burning of rice fields. It just gets rid of the residue. That stuff is thick. So if you have to depend on the rain, the and the temperature and the microbial activity in the soil to break it down, it just takes a while. So get a head start on it, just burn it off.
is it a Perry? Is it a thicker biomass than like oats?
Yes, that root mass is how do I say this? It's bigger than my fist. I mean that hybrid rice, one little seed, one grain of rice, it can make up to 25 tillers,
Wow,
possibly even more. I mean,
wow.
there's if you take a square foot, I mean, I think ideally you'd want 7 or 8 plants per foot, but a stand of rice, if you just have to go with something, you can go with 1.5 seeds per square foot, and just imagine that one seed in a square foot, pretty much tillering out to fill up that whole foot.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, yeah, that root mass is, and that stool, I'd say, where all the tillers come from. That's a lot of biomass. So it's got to break down.
And one thing a lot of people don't realize, and I know from my travels out there, is that rice is not exactly. It is an easy crop, but things like weed control can get a little tedious sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I said rice is nothing but a glorified grass. So if you let the grass get out of control in your rice field, you've got a bad problem,
Oh,
because the grass loves the same fertilizer you're putting on your rice, so it'll grow and actually sometimes grow taller than the rice, and just and take, as they say, take it down to the ground. So yeah, that grass control is huge
yeah,
in
it's
rice.
a lot of people worry about the pig weeds and having to pull pig weeds.
Yeah.
I could not imagine having to walk a rice field and pull what is it, red rice out?
Well, red rice, yeah, that we haven't even touched on that. We've got some herbicides now that'll, for the most part, control the red rice. Uh, but that's been a problem over the years. Not so much today as it was 20 years ago, but just the other grass, we call it nut grass, which is yellow and purple nut sedge. That's a problem. Barnyard grass, broadleaf signal grass, just all that stuff. Uh, With a little bit of fertilizer and water, that stuff grows fast, and it's hard to kill once it gets past one or two leaves.
And it doesn't take but 24 hours to go to from a little problem to a big
That's
problem.
right. Yeah. It's just like everything else, timing.
That and putting your spillways in. That's you make farming rice look really, really easy. But when you're actually in the field, it's not quite as easy as it looks.
No, it's not. Oh well, it just you got to do what you got to do. That's the way it works. You got to if you're going to raise it with a levee or a paddy system, you got to have the spills. So yeah.
Yep. Now, Bethany Ingram just asked, what kind of inputs does it take to raise a decent rice crop, like fertilizer and that kind of stuff, and your cost of your inputs?
Yeah, it's gonna be similar to some of the higher grossing crops, just like a corn crop or a cotton crop. Yeah, I'd say it's equivalent to a corn crop. It's gonna cost what 750 to I don't know, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
If you get behind on those herbicides, you can go from what might be uh, a $25 herbicide application to if you get behind a few days, like we were just talking, they could easily turn into $80 or $90.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, in a hurry.
Now, Perry, what is y'all's biggest fungus issue that you have in rice?
Well, sheath blight's probably the one, and I'm trying, and that's a common disease. I'm trying to think of the name of it in soybeans. I mean, it's just uh, but all those they're the same diseases. We call it sheath blight in rice. It starts at the water level and works its way up the plant. Attacks the flag leaf, and you know where it goes from there.
Ooh.
Uh, that's probably the worst one. Then there's one called blast. I'm not really sure, but as long as you've got a consultant and stand on top of it, and you use a good quality fungicide, it's controlled.
That
There's some varieties that are hybrids that are resistant to certain diseases, so you might need there's some smuts and stuff, so you might need to put in some propiconazole to help along on some of that, which usually would be tank mixed with the insecticide. We have what they call rice stink bugs, and they'll go in there and suck on the rice when it's actually in the milk stage, and they call it peck. It leaves a little brown spot on the seed. So, of course, at the end of the day, the most valuable rice is what would go in a small bag that we at the grocery store. So, if you're trying to sell your small bag rice in a small bag, you don't want any black dots or red rice or anything. You want pure white grains. So, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of quality issues with the rice too. We hadn't touched on that.
and
we
I
have another question from Bryant was, can I hunt? Can I duck hunt in the rice fields?
On whose rice fields? Has anyone asked him permission to come hunting or what?
He might be. He might be. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
No, the
Perry,
ducks the ducks do like the rice. So we have migrating the ducks right now. I guess they're migrating back north. I saw a lot this afternoon around the edge of the fields. So
and Perry, you touched on something a second ago. Grading is a big, big thing for you guys, isn't it?
yeah, in the rice it is. Yeah. Man, I don't even know if I can explain well enough for everyone to understand. So it's called the milling yield, the head yield. So you got the you got a quantity. I think it's 100 grams of rice with the hulls on, and then get the hulls off, and that gives you a number, a percent. So that'd be say when the hulls off of it leaves you like 70%, and then they take it another step further. They put a little pressure on it and see how many of the kernels are broken. Goes back to the bag of rice at the grocery store. The buyer or the consumer wants whole long grains. So the little bitty broken pieces that either machine damaged or damaged at the with equipment loading it and unloading it through the grain bins or whatever. If you got broken pieces, and that just doesn't sell as well. So a lot of that is used as filler in, say, dog food, or they use a lot of it in beer. Ferment the broken pieces, because the beer doesn't care if it's if they're
No,
fermenting a broken piece or a whole piece. So ideally the whole pieces go in a nice bag of rice to be sold to the consumer in the grocery store, and the pieces would be fermented and put into a cold can of beer, I guess.
I never realized until about 15 years ago, we were doing a lot of work for one of the breweries, how much rice
Oh yeah.
was used in beer.
Yeah, I don't know those numbers, but yeah, there's some beer breweries around here, or buying points that are owned by the breweries.
Yeah, we did work at 11 breweries, and they were using anywhere from 4 to 6 rail cars
Yeah.
every other day.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you go by those things, and those when they're and those trucks will be lined up for, looks like, miles full of rice. But again, they're taking the long grain, the whole grain, and they're selling it, as a premium to the consumer uh in the
And then
grocery
you roast
store.
it and you
And then the
say,
broken little bitty pieces that are just almost ground up dust, they're using that in the as filler or in beer. I'm sure there's other uses, but that's just the first ones that come to mind.
now, Perry, what was just kind of looking over all the years, things have changed so much over the
Yeah,
years. What is the biggest change you've seen in growing rice in all the years?
probably the hybrid rice. I don't know how long the hybrid's been around. Time goes by so fast. Probably 25 years. But I'd say the yields went up. Uh, Gosh, I bet they went up 25% just overnight when they went from a conventional, just, I guess, a cross variety to hybrid varieties of rice. It went up drastically, just
That
again
yeah,
overnight.
and it people don't realize how quick technology changes.
Yeah,
Well, we've got along. Are you guys ready to roll a little bit of rice footage tonight?
I guess so.
Seth, are you
Y'all,
ready?
Absolutely. Always ready to see the rice
all
footage and
all
excited
right.
to
Well,
see what
y'all
Perry's
get it going. I
doing.
enjoyed the conversation, and I will talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Perry. Appreciate your
All
time
right.
tonight,
All
sir.
right. Good night.
Time
Good
for a
night.
new season
Have a
of
good
top
night.
crop. The health of our soil is going to contribute to us making money.
Let's
I call
go.
it turning
Episode
trash into cash.
207,
I'm
rice
still looking
and
for big
shop.
wins.
I think it looks good. Welcome to Top Crop. We're going to talk about the cotton, when it was planted, what we've done up to this point as far as fertility, and maybe some weed control. But weed control is pretty standard, or it varies around the country, but for the most part, we got to kill our weeds. So this cotton was planted May the 5th. It's grown quite well. we've had some rain early, so it's been fertilized with 60 units of nitrogen, and then we'll come with another 60 as of right now. We're actually putting it out right now. I've got Ivan with me because he's got to put some growth regulator on it. It's called mepiquat chloride. Originally branded as PIX. It's generic now, so there's a lot of different products out there. Did I mention that it's 100 degrees out there right now? It's pretty hot. It's really hot. The moisture's going away quickly, so we're wide open irrigating corn, soybeans, rice, and cotton. A combination of nitrogen and water and high temperatures. This cotton is already growing like crazy. With additional water and nitrogen, it's really going to want to grow. So we need to grow, so we need to put on fruit for a big yield. I've got Ivan with me right now. We're going to talk about an application he's going to make later this afternoon and tomorrow. With 12 ounces of growth regulator, the mepiquat chloride. Put a little boron in there too. Why do we put boron in there? Okay, so the boron helps regulate the nitrogen. There's actually growth regulators with a little boron in there. Put our own boron in there. pint to the acre, along with 12 ounces of the growth regulator. And we're gonna follow up with a little bit of weed control, splash around up. We had some spurge coming through and some grasses, so we're gonna clean that up as well. Have any questions? I'll get you a field list and you can enter all this stuff into your computer and be good to go. Welcome to Top Crop. A completely saturated field through poly pipe or whatever means is equivalent to about 4 inches of rain. I think that'd be on the high side because we're doing every other row. We're in this hybrid skip pattern. We're doing in between these rows. So we're not completely saturated. We're on and off in about 24 hours. So, you know, a couple inches. This will hold this cotton for a good week. We'll irrigate today being Tuesday. So this time tomorrow, Wednesday morning, it'll be off. We won't have to worry about this until middle of next week. Hopefully we'll get some rain by then, cooler temperatures, and we can stretch it even a few days further. Probably some of my youngest cotton. It's squaring nicely. It actually started squaring on the 5th node. I looked at that a while ago, and that's about as early as you can ask for it. It's about 8 node, 9 nodes right now. It's had fertilizer, heat, probably in the 90s already at 10 o'clock. Fertilizer, heat, and water right here for irrigated cottons. It's got a little bit of growth regulator on it right now. We'll put some more on it after this irrigation, and because with those 3 combinations, heat, water, and nitrogen, it's really about to start growing, so looking good. Finishing up some herbicide, some fertility products. We put out some fish head product too, so we've got about 100 acres split application on that. Looking forward to seeing those good results. Beans are coming right along. We've used Revitec and Revaloc for our soybean fungicide in the last few days. 2 weeks ago, I guess all the corn got the Veltima by BASF. You know, we've been using that for 4 years. Unsurpassed results. Unless it rains, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping with some maybe fungicides, insecticides, growth regulators on the cotton, and a lot of irrigation. So I'll just say something about the Revaloc from BASF. This is my 2nd year with it. We've had some trials with it, and this year we've used 8 or 900 acres up to this point. Really looking forward to it, and we've used Revitec for years. In some case, we didn't need all the protection that Revitec was giving us. We've already used some of it, so we're looking forward to the results that Revaloc's providing. So Revaloc's got a lot of the same components as Revitec, but it's a little more budget friendly. So you can save $3 or $4 an acre and get pretty close to the same protection and results. 2nd year with it, so really looking forward to seeing how well it performs this year. The Revitec did such a good job. The soybeans had a tendency to stay green, making them a little tougher to harvest. I don't think Revaloc has that component in it. You don't have as much of a stay green issue. Now in extreme disease years, you might say, well, I wish I'd used Revitec, but you know, if you can save $3 or $4 an acre and get almost the same protection and not the stay green problems or the harvest difficulties, then this is your go-to.
Fungicide we're using is Veltima, because our 3rd year with it. It's been working great. There has been some tar spot already spotted in northern Ohio. Normally we've already flown all this corn, but we was able to wait until July 26th today. It's already past blister stage, starting to fill out already. Clearly we've been able to keep disease pressure away, and Veltima should protect us all the way through the rest of the season. Another thing that we're doing is sugars, octane. We got to have that sugar. We got to have the kelpine for the stress mitigation. And then the big one, something we found out just 2 years ago, we've been toying with, and we found it consistent. Onward Max, 6.5 ounces. And let me tell you, the trials that we ran with that, there's a reason why it's going on every single acre of our corn.
We've been very happy with the roadability. They've been very smooth on the road, not bouncy. They don't have the loud sprayer noise. So we're going to be putting a lot of high road miles, a lot of heat in the summertime. So we're really excited to see that, and the less compaction, our clay soils getting over it, and sometimes even tougher conditions.
We have a very aggressive warranty on these. They're 7 years. It even covers field hazard and stubble protection, which means that, see how it really does feel. We have a great quality tire, and we're standing behind that.
Corn stalk stubble is extremely hard on tires, so that's really good for us.
All right. Let's go check another plot out.
So from here to the top of the field is the organics plot.
Okay.
So this is organics with deep injection. This is organics with dry over the top. And so it'll run from this flag, and it should be 18 rows to the next flag. And this is our organics with dry fertilizer broadcast. Then there's another flag, and that second flag down there starts fish shit. We got deep injection fertilizer with them, and then when you get to the next set of flags, it'll be broadcast with them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So we ran it in the deep injection bar. This would have went 6 to 8 inches deep and would have been on both sides of the row. So you'd be 3 inches on this side, 3 inches on that side. And this was probably about three weeks ahead of planting.
Okay.
So let's take ears and test the probe in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you still have those ears from?
Yeah, I put them on the truck bed so we can keep them in order. That's insane. How fast does that work? 30 seconds?
Oh yeah. See, like right now though, it's trying to find the cloud there. It found the cloud, so it's sent the first sample right there. If I have signal with it, I mean, it's sent before it comes out of
The ground.
the ground.
Well, Corey might have 2 really fancy planters, but I can tell you right now, my row shutoffs are working on point this year. When you walk down these rows and you've got a perfect 30-inch aisle between the headland and the AB line, I can actually tell you the direction that this was planted was going this way, was going to her right. Because right here we hit something and we got a little bounce, and you can see there's, this plant's probably off by 1 inch or 2 here.
Yep.
But if you look at the singulation on these plants, the singulations on our plants in our fields are absolutely on point. And you can see how good this corn has handled the stress. Well, we're gonna see a field today, and I don't know if you've ever seen this, it's quintuplets. They've got 5 seeds together within a 6-inch gap. I've never seen it, but it's like double, triple, quadruples, quintuplets, and it's repeating. And they've got field after field after field like that planted, and the plants have stressed 10 times worse. In the heat. So we've got deep injection this side, dry broadcast on this side. And this one is going to be, so that one up there, that dry broadcast, it's 100% of fertility. So like if it called for 40P and 40K, that's what it got. This one here is at 150%. So if it was 40P and 40K, this one actually got 60 and 60 on the dry broadcast. So we're seeing how much extra dry broadcast we're having to put to even maintain the same yield with the injection in the same area. So we should see fertility if we've had rainwater to move it into the soil profile, and if it's became available with the broadcast, be higher here than the one up there. This is deep injection. So the dry will start at that flag right there. My crop insurance agent's gonna be happy. Oh yeah, it's a heck of a good thing. Yeah. I mean, when they're saying the state yield's probably gonna be sub 60 bushels, and
You're killing it.
well, I mean, even at 20,000 of these ears to the acre, we're probably looking over 100, 125 bushels.
I got a chance too. Yeah.
Man, most guys around here are actually playing a little thinner than that. Yeah, this ain't Illinois. So what you're saying, Madison, is that I can call y'all come January, and y'all will just come out here to all the farms and send him with the soil probe and pull all my pre-season samples. Here, I'm gonna let you hold the competitors, and then I'm gonna pull these out so we can compare.
In the past 3 years, we're 365 GDUs behind schedule. So that is one of our concerns here. If we don't have solar, we don't have GDUs, we don't have photosynthesis, we don't have energy into that plant. So that's where, when you guys approached about Architect and being able to add that on at that V5 time frame, I was really excited for it. Definitely looks like it's doing its job here. I'm excited to take it to yield and see if we can't get it on every acre next year.
So this is organics with deep injection. This is organics with dry over the top. And it should be 18 rows to the next flag. And this is our organics with dry fertilizer broadcast. The plant health is definitely better. We're seeing the first lower leaf is starting to stress a little bit. Here we might have been 1 or 2 leaves below the ear leaf that's already started to drop off and brown up. So I mean, the crop stress is a lot less where we had the organics.
Welcome to Top Crop. Now we're in a rice field. We have a little bit of everything here in East Central Arkansas. So what I did notice, this rice is a little late, but I don't guess I've ever seen a rice plant take its fertilizer quicker than this did, and I attribute that to the root system. We put the fertilizer out really 10 days ago. Within 3 or 4 days, we got the dark green color, and it's really growing well and looking nice. So expecting big things out of this rice crop, especially thanks to Locust Ag's Rhizolizer Plus. I think we got a problem out here. I'm gonna have to go take care of it in a minute. But look at this, why do we have current? See those bubbles? It's like it's a river. So something's going wrong on the bottom of this field. The water's getting away. Because it's muddy right here. Yesterday they had standing water on it. So I need to go way over there and see what's going on. I think we have a leak. The rest of the field's pumped up nicely, just the way I wanted it. But we've got a problem in this land. And I've got to find out where the problem is and what I can do about it. So rice can be irrigated several different ways. Contour levees, which is kind of what this is. Even though this field's been precision leveled, so the levees are straight, it's still on a defined slope, and the levees are equal distance apart to give us about a 2/10 fall in between the paddies. One of the newer techniques in irrigating rice would be furrow irrigated, or row rice, which is similar to what we saw earlier in the cotton, I guess. And about every 3 or 4 days, you just run water down the furrows to irrigate the rice. And you catch it at the bottom, you can reclaim it. So, but that's really just come along in the last 10 years, maybe a stretch, really probably the last 6 or 8 years. It's a little more efficient use of the water. And that's been brought about because of the better herbicides. Because part of the issue with rice and water is once you get water on the rice crop, in theory, no more weeds can come through, no more grass. So if it's above the water, it'll grow and live. If it's below the water, it won't germinate, it'll basically drown. So both new herbicides and residual herbicides, they can do this row rice, control the weeds all season long. Pest. You know, there's some minor pests that can get on the plant, I guess, early. You know, some cutworms or something when it emerges, some bugs, some other worms that may eat the plant. But for the most part, we don't really talk about pests in rice until we get to the heading stage, and you have stink bugs, rice stink bugs, which suck the milk out of the maturing grain and leaves a little peck on it. Because when you think about it, the most valuable rice is what comes in the little bag, the little 1-pound bags at the grocery store that your typical housewife would buy. She's probably going to grab the brightest, whitest bag of rice. So that's one of the qualities they look for on rice, the brighter, whiter rice. Premium and discount, what they call the head yield, broken kernels, whole kernels, the ratio in between. It's got its own schedule of premiums and discounts. So maybe we can talk about that at harvest. But right now, this rice is coming along fine. Water on it, fertilizer, plenty of heat. It's growing fast. So when we talk about irrigating rice, it's got to get us set. We plant the rice, it emerges, we control the weeds. Once we control the weeds and get 5 or 6 leaf rice, as we call it, which would be about 6 to 8 inches even in size and tillers, we can fertilize and water. But the main thing is it's got to be weed-free, and then bring on the fertilizer and the water.
Choose your herbicide. Choose your pest protection. Choose AgVenture. The latest trait technologies featuring the power of the Enlist weed control system, plus the quality and service you know and trust. Produce more bushels with 4-seed Enlist and PowerCore Enlist corn from AgVenture. Visit agventure.com/corn traits to get a whole farm solution with the latest corn traits.
making some applications to some cotton. So we've got a product from Fish Head, fish manure. We use a lot of manures around the farm for fertility, and I know the fish manure has a lot of added benefits. We're gonna put it in one of our mixes. It's an organic soil conditioner, and we're gonna use it at foliar at 20 ounces to the acre. We're gonna do it twice. We're really looking forward to just more food for the biology. Get it irrigated in. We're looking forward to some good results.
Let's see, you got small, medium, big. And there's small, medium, big. But this is dry, and that's deep injection, so we really need to compare. Because right here, this is our flag row, the one you're at right now. So we'll go 12 rows in, so 1, 2. Now what's gonna be cool is if we can do a printout on these, and then we've got the ears, the printouts, we've got the Haney, the tissues, and the metagenomics from Rise Bio. And then we'll see how your probe is stacking up to what we're seeing with all these other in-lab tests and the metagenomics. Oh yeah. Man, that's gonna be a big difference. I ain't even counted the kernels yet, and I can tell you it's a 30 bushel swing.
Between
It's
the
deep injection and the dry.
Yep.
Every bit of it. Look how much that's stressed all the way down to the bottom of the ear. Yep.
So this is fish shit.
This aborted the entire line all the way down. So yeah, that's deep injection. So placing that fertility 6 to 8 inches deep where we maintain moisture at a longer time. All right, so I have the two dries. I've got Organics dry, and I got Fish Shit dry, and you've got Fish Shit deep injection. All right, so we've got Organics with our deep injection fertilizer on the top left. We've got Organics with our dry fertilizer top right. We've got Fish Head with our deep injection bottom left, and Fish Head with our dry fertilizer bottom right. Based on average kernel counts, Organics deep injection is 18 by 48 averages, and we're coming up with 115 bushels, which is this one. The Fish Shit with deep injection is 16 by 42 averages, 89.6 bushels. The Organics dry is 16 by 44 with a 93.86, and Fish Shit dry 14 by 36, which is coming up with 67.2 bushels. A 25.4 bushel difference between this one here and this one here. So for a dry year, 115 bushels in a drought still ain't bad for some dryland corn. Because like I said, I mean, if the state average does come in even at 60 bushels, that's double the state average using cover crops, no-till, biological products in furrow, and looking at, you know, fertility practices where we're putting that fertilizer a little bit deeper in the profile, where we're maintaining moisture during these dry spells. So,
What else did you see out there though? Do you think
the plant health is
stress?
The plant health is definitely better. I mean, what we're seeing up here is we're seeing the first lower leaf, maybe up to the second lower leaf, is starting to stress a little bit. Here we might have been 1 or 2 leaves below the ear leaf that's already started to drop off and brown up. So I mean, the crop stress is a lot worse. And the crazy thing is like nobody can say, well, you put it, like we randomly selected these and we're seeing more crop stress on the bottom side than we are on the upper side, which is, you would think that would be reversed because you're going to get more to go downhill. But we weren't capturing and utilizing that water the same on the bottom side where we didn't have the Organics. I'm pretty happy with them numbers. And so not only are we seeing a better yield, but now we're going to go back and see, we know liquid fertilizer costs a little bit more per unit, but then we'll do the math and we'll say, you know, this is what we paid for a pound of P, this is what we paid for a pound of K, and did that 30% add or subtract off of that extra bushel to look at the ROI on it. Pretty dang awesome for a drought. Because I mean, we're fully R2. If not, I mean, you can start seeing a little bit of milk coming in there. So we're pretty much starting that R3 stage. And this one right here is predominantly just in that first blister with that tab on top. So yeah, that's a full stage behind. Now we'll go look at the other farm. It's a wrap, baby. So this is organics with deep injection. This is organics with dry over the top. And it should be 18 rows to the next flag. And this is our organics with dry fertilizer broadcast. The plant health is definitely better. We're seeing the first lower leaf is starting to stress a little bit. Here we might have been 1 or 2 leaves below the ear leaf that's already started to drop off and brown up. So I mean, the crop stress is a lot less where we had the organics.
Making some applications to some cotton. So we've got a product from Fish Head, fish manure. We use a lot of manures around the farm for fertility, and I know the fish manure has a lot of added benefits. We're gonna put it in one of our mixes. It's an organic soil conditioner, and we're gonna use it at foliar at 20 ounces to the acre. We're gonna do it twice. We're looking forward to just more food for the biology, get it irrigated in. We're looking forward to some good results.
The only part that I truly care about is like where you see the water start right there. If you come over 18 rows, that little dog leg right there, that's part of our contest plot. You know, what I'm really hoping for is I'm really hoping for this field to average 140 bushels. I mean, the goal is 150. With some of the stress we've had, I don't really know if that's going to be achievable, but that's what we're going to continue to do, our tissue sampling. We've got the new program that rolled out, foliar scripts. We'll have that tomorrow, have our printouts where we can actually see, you know, we're pulling a tissue sample on these crops. It's generating what we actually need to apply down to the ounce to make some corrections. And that's really one of the ways for us to economically keep these plants in balance.
And that'll conclude this week's episode of Top Crop Season 2, Episode 7. That was Rice and Shine with Perry Galloway and Russell Hedrick. I appreciate everybody being in tonight. Special thanks to all our moderators on all the channels. You know who you are. Thanks for all the comments in the chat. This was a live session. If we missed your comment in the chat, we'll try to make sure that one of the talent gets back to you. Make sure you go visit our website and all of our social media platforms. We're on. Check our link tree where you can find us in all the good platforms. Make sure you find us in the TikTok shop. Come hang out with us in the green room on TikTok, on the watch parties. Catch us on RFD TV, Carbon TV, Acres TV, Amazon Prime. We got Corn Warriors, The Podfather, now Top Crop TV coming to you from the fields very soon here. We'll be planting. We'll be out in Arkansas hanging out with Perry Galloway and all the rest of our good talent. Thank you so much, everybody, for being in. We appreciate you. Y'all keep coming back. It works if you work it. We'll see you on the next one.